You ever feel like, no matter how hard you try, something just feels off in your relationships? Like there's this invisible wall between you and the people you care about? Yeah, you're not alone. And what I'm about to share might actually explain why. So here's the thing. A lot of us grew up in homes where love felt conditional. Maybe your parents were physically there, but emotionally. It was like talking to a brick wall. Or maybe you only got attention when you achieved something, got good grades, stayed quiet, didn't cause problems. And listen, I'm not here to blame anyone's parents, because most of them were doing the best they could with what they had. But here's what nobody tells you. When you grow up without that consistent emotional warmth, without someone really seeing you and validating your feelings, it changes you, deep down, in ways you don't even realize until years later. Scientists call these attachment wounds. And they're not just some psychology buzzword. These wounds actually rewire your brain. They shape how you see yourself, how you see other people, and how you move through the world. And the wild part? Most people have no idea they're carrying them. So today, I want to walk you through 5 patterns that show up when you didn't get the love you needed as a kid. And if you recognize yourself in any of these, take a breath, because this isn't about shame. This is about understanding, and understanding is where healing begins. All right, let's talk about the first one. Hyper-vigilance in relationships. If you grew up emotionally neglected, your brain learned one thing really well: danger. Not physical danger, but emotional danger. You learned that people leave, that love disappears without warning, that you can't really trust anyone to stay. So now, as an adult, you're constantly scanning, you're looking for signs. Did they text back slower than usual? Did their tone sound off? Did they seem distant at dinner? Your nervous system is stuck in overdrive, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're not being paranoid. You're just operating from a place where abandonment felt inevitable. And honestly, that's exhausting. You end up pushing people away because you're so afraid they'll leave first. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the saddest part is, you're not even aware you're doing it half the time. The second pattern, and this one hits hard. You can't accept love or compliments. Someone tells you you're amazing, and immediately your brain's like, nah, they don't really mean that. Someone loves you, and you're waiting for them to realize they made a mistake. Because deep down there's this belief that you're not enough, that you're unlovable, that if people really knew you, they'd walk away. And where does that come from? It comes from a childhood where you didn't get that steady, unconditional message that you mattered just because you existed. So now, even when love shows up, you deflect it. You minimize it. You don't let it sink in. It's like trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much someone pours in, it just drains out. And you end up feeling empty, even when you're surrounded by people who genuinely care. Number 3 is something a lot of high achievers deal with, and they don't even connect the dots. You became an overachiever or a people pleaser. If love was tied to performance when you were a kid, if you only felt seen when you got straight A's, or when you made your parents proud, or when you didn't cause any trouble, then you learned that your worth is earned, not given. So now, you're constantly doing, constantly proving, constantly trying to be good enough. You say yes when you want to say no. You overwork yourself. You bend over backward for people who wouldn't do the same for you. And why? Because somewhere inside, you still believe that if you stop performing, people will stop loving you. But here's the truth. Real love doesn't require a resume. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be perfect. But when you grew up thinking you did, it's really hard to believe that now. The fourth one is quieter, but just as damaging. Emotional numbness. Some people didn't just miss out on love. They experienced rejection, criticism, maybe even emotional abuse. And when that happens, Your brain does something really smart to protect you. It shuts down. It builds walls. It stops letting you feel too much, because feeling too much hurt too badly. So now you might go through life kind of detached. You don't cry easily. You don't get too excited. You keep people at arm's length, not because you don't care, but because caring feels dangerous. And people might call you cold or distant or emotionless. But really, you're just protecting that younger version of you who learned that feelings weren't safe. The problem is, when you numb the pain, you also numb the joy. And you end up living in this grey middle zone where nothing really touches you. And that's lonely. And finally, number 5, the fear of being a burden. This one sneaks up on people. If your needs were ignored, dismissed, or made to feel like an inconvenience when you were young, you learned to shrink, to not ask for help, to handle everything on your own. So now, even when you're struggling, even when you're drowning, you smile and say, "I'm fine." You don't want to bother anyone. You don't want to be too much. You apologize for taking up space. And meanwhile, you're suffering in silence because asking for support feels like admitting weakness. But here's the thing, needing people isn't a burden. It's human. And the people who love you, they want to be there for you. But they can't if you never let them in. So, if you heard yourself in any of these patterns, I need you to hear this too. None of this is your fault. You didn't choose to grow up without the love you needed. You didn't choose to develop these coping mechanisms. Your brain was just trying to keep you safe in an environment that didn't feel safe. These patterns, they're not flaws. They're survival adaptations. And they worked for a time. But now, they might be holding you back from the connection, the peace, and the love you actually deserve. Recognizing these patterns is the first step. It really is. Because you can't heal what you don't acknowledge. And once you see them, you can start to challenge them. You can start to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you're worth. It's not easy. It takes time. It takes compassion. Sometimes it takes therapy or support groups or just safe people who let you practice being vulnerable. But it's possible. You're not broken. You're not damaged goods. You're someone who survived something hard, and now you're learning how to live, not just survive. So be gentle with yourself. You're doing better than you think.